up, disc golfers? Another video from your disc golf host, KDG, talking more discs. However, I'm not going to be talking about this disc per se, even though this is a phenomenal disc, this Big Z Nuke. But to be honest, I actually think it's with crystal plastic. Could be wrong on that. 168. This is a bomber. This is just an all-out bomber. But this is actually a tip video, a little disc golf tip from just a friendly disc golfer out there that wants to help his boys out, help you guys get a little bit more distance. Yep, I said it. There's a quick little tip that I have for you guys. It's very simple. It's just making a minor adjustment that will maximize your distance and get you anywhere from 30 to 40 to 50 to maybe even 100 extra feet on your drive, depending on, obviously that's contingent on your arm speed, but where your current discs are landing. If you make this small shift in your routine, it can drastically improve your form and drastically improve the potential disc flight of your disc. Very, very simple tip, and I'm going to try to show you guys this simple tip with one hand on my camera and on my phone and one hand actually holding the disc, and it's very, very, very simple. So if you guys have been playing disc golf and you are experiencing where sometimes you feel like your discs are not flying like they should, or they're flying more overstable, or they hyzer out very quickly and they just go really high, and a majority of your drives actually go high in the air and then fall out early, you might be experiencing this problem, and I will help you with understanding what is happening. You need to have, when you're throwing your drivers or any disc other than a mid-range, you need to keep your nose down. And what I mean by that is, let's look at the disc here. Let's look at this, the plane of the disc. Okay, you can't see the flight path, so when you can't see the flight plate, this is straight. You're looking straight onto the disc. Okay, you want your nose down slightly when you're throwing. If your nose is like this, where you can kind of see the flight plate, if you can see the flight plate when you release the disc, then you threw nose up. And what happens when you throw nose up is your disc goes up, and it keeps going up and up and up and up and gets more and more height, and then it hyzers down. There are times where you want your disc to go high. However, you need to do that with going back swinging low and then ending high, versus having your disc just being at a high angle. There is a way you can actually throw straight in front of you, but if you have your nose up a lot, you can actually throw your disc and it will go super high, but yet you didn't throw high, if that makes sense. So let's go back to this. How you make this really easy change in your throw, and it just takes going out to a field and practicing this and changing it. But if you were new to disc golf and basically you just grabbed your disc like a regular frisbee and put it in your hand, and it's sitting in your hand like this with a regular power grip, you might be thinking, well, there's a power grip. That's a power grip, right? Why would it be? Well, when I go to throw, look how much of the flight plate. So my arm is parallel right now. I'm putting my camera parallel with my arm. Look how much of the flight plate is showing. I cannot bend anymore. This is where my disc is sitting. So when it comes out of my hand, now I am pointing down, but what I mean is it doesn't matter where I point. That much of the flight plate is showing, because I'm showing the angle right now with my camera. So what is that going to do? Right out of my hand, it's going to come up and get really high, and it's going to hyzer out early. So how do you fix that? You can't bend your wrist more. Your wrist is only going to go so much. You want your wrist to stay straight, and you actually want your wrist to be comfortable. If you're feeling any strain in your wrist, you're not holding the disc right. So how you do that is it's very simple. Go like this and actually hold the disc in between your middle finger and your index finger. So what it's doing is it's actually putting the disc not here in your palm, but along that crease where your thumb comes down. There, okay? Now that's not how you're gonna hold the disc. I'm just giving you an example. If you're holding the disc like this, straight in your hand, along that little line, that little crease in your palm right there. If you're doing that, then when you go over to curl for your power grip, at first it's gonna feel weird. This is what your power grip is going to look. This is going to have a lot less of the flight plate or of the rim under it. It's going to feel weird at first. It's going to feel different. It's going to feel like it's digging into your finger a little bit more. However, let's go back and look at the example. Look at now. I am holding the disc the same position. My wrist is in the same position. Look how much less of the flight plate. If I get my camera even better, there. Look how much less of the flight plate. When I put my wrist down, look at that. It's almost completely flat. If I wanted to adjust it, I could adjust it a little bit more. Adjust my grip a little bit more. There you are. Look at that. Even negative. Nose down. Look at that. Nose down. Not like this. Nose down. Now, you just got yourself an extra 30, 40, 50 feet on your drive. No joke. It is that simple. Because what it's doing is you are throwing the disc the way it's designed to be thrown. That's what you're doing. You're throwing the disc the way it's designed to be thrown. They test discs in a machine at flat. The aerodynamics is made to be thrown flat. Everything about the disc is made to be thrown flat. Let me share an example with you. If you've ever watched Formula One racing, okay, the race cars, their wings and everything about the car is designed to cut through the wind and to provide downforce on the flight plate. On the wings to provide downforce. Have you ever seen a Formula One car get lifted in the air and then it flies up like an airplane? That's because it got nose up. A Formula One car does not want to race with the nose up. It wants to race with the nose down. That's essentially what you're doing. You're getting maximum aerodynamics by throwing with the nose down. The nose down is a reference of you're not throwing down into the ground. You're throwing flat. You're throwing the disc flat. However, when it's coming out of your hand, it's nose down. And the reason why is because the natural flight plate, the way the flight plate, I'll go here. The way that the rim and the flight plate on a high-speed driver is designed, even if you throw down, it's naturally going to have a little bit of loft to it. It's naturally going to have a slight carry and a lift. So it's not going to go, you're not throwing into the ground, you're still throwing flat. However, when you keep that nose down, it's naturally going to have a slight, it's just going to hover across the air and you're going to throw it. So if you've ever seen, Ricky Wysocki, Paul Macbeth, Simon Lizotte, all these guys, the reason why they're able to throw so crazy far is because they've perfected their grip and they've perfected their nose down throw. I was a little skeptical at first. I thought really just changing my grip can make all the difference. But if you think about it, it does make so much sense. The only thing that is creating energy in the disc is the contact of your hand to the disc. That's the only thing that's transferring the energy from your shoulder down to your elbow, down to your wrist, and then ultimately through your fingers and into the disc. That's the only thing that's providing momentum. So it makes so much sense that the way you're holding the disc says so much about the result of how the disc is going to come out of your hand. Same with the flick. If you're throwing a flick nose down, it's going to be a far better flick than when you're throwing nose up. It's the same concept. If you're throwing your flick nose down, it's going to come out really cleanly, it's going to come out low, and it's going to have those nice skip shots. If you're throwing nose up, you're going to get those sky, you've seen it all the time. You got those people that are just starting out and they throw a forehand and their forehand goes straight up into the air and turns into a huge hyzer. That's because they haven't learned yet how to throw their forehand nose down. That's the biggest difference. So it's the same thing with your driver. So I'll do it again so you guys have reference. Take your disc and put it in the crease of your palm flat ways like this. When you go to turn your disc over, look how much of the flight plate is being shown. Okay, now you put it between your index finger and your palm of your hand like this. Then you curl your finger over, same power grip. However, boom, nose down. No longer are you seeing that flight plate when I put my wrist down, and then when you're carrying that through, to the end of your flight, when you go to release your disc is coming out like this versus coming out like that. And that's all the difference in getting that extra 100 feet. And it works, guys. It works, and I've seen it work. And basically how you can test this is go out and throw your favorite mid-range, and then go out and throw your favorite fairway driver, and go out and throw your favorite high-speed driver. Throw them with nose up, and you will see that both your fairway driver and your high-speed driver will go the same distance as your mid-range. If your high-speed drivers are going the same distance as your mid-range, that shows you something is wrong with your grip and something is wrong with your throw. That's the biggest indication right there, because there is no way that a 13-speed driver should be going the same distance as a 4-speed mid-range. There's absolutely no way, and it has nothing to do with how your power is. It has everything to do with where you're releasing the nose. These discs are made to far out drive your mid-range when they're thrown right. However, there is hardly any room for error. That's why it takes so much practice, because there is no room for error with high-speed drivers. High-speed drivers are going to go whatever line you put them on and whatever angle you put them on, that's how they're going to fly. So if you're not able to get these massive distances with your drivers, I'm excited to go out and continue to practice, because I can foresee myself going, yep, it's actually doable to get 500-foot drives now. Where before I was like, man, I think 400 is my max. Nope, it's not. 500 is going to be your max if you start perfecting. Keep making sure that in your grip, it's going to feel weird at first because it's completely changing your grip. However, you're going to be releasing it on a far better angle, on a much more aerodynamic angle, which translate into a much faster and a much farther throw than in your disc. And you're going to see actually that what you thought was an overstable disc is going to now start becoming understable, solely because you changed that angle of the flight plate. So I hope you guys enjoy this tip. It is a tip that is proven. You can take it to any pro that is out there and ask them about that, and they will confirm that nose angle is everything when it comes to distance with your distance drivers. So hope you enjoyed the tip. Comment back and then let me know in the comments if you went out and tested this and saw a vast, almost an immediate improvement when you start getting this down. So thank you guys. Enjoy the tip. Go out and go out and throw. Enjoy. Bye.